Afternoon, everybody. Welcome. Stick around. We're going to be starting a little bit of a chit chat about taking your passion for photography or your part-time interest in it into potentially a money earnings income stream. So anyway, watch this little intro, and I'll let everybody log on. Hello, everybody. Welcome. Right, let's just see what's going on in the comments. Nothing yet, so I think you're all logging on okay. Let me just get a link, which is at the bottom of the text on this, for registration for the Full Frame Club. Find it while you're doing that. I should have this ready. My apologies, but it won't be a second. Here it is, that one there. Copy. Make sure I've got the right one. Looks like I have, yeah. So this is the registration, which is actually in the text already on this post. But that's the link for it, which is coming up now. If you click on that, that'll take you to the registration thing. All it does is gives me a little bit of information about you, and it makes you think about why you may want to earn a living from photography and so on. But it also gets you access to the Full Frame Club private members group, which is free to get in there. And that means you're going to get a little bit more information, about the webinars you're going to be doing the rest of this week and so on. So that's that bit really. So welcome to Monday. My name's Carl Thomas. And I just thought I'd go do a live. This is just an overall introduction to answering the question about setting up a photography business, really, just the broad terms. We do a lot more deep dive, obviously, in the Full Frame Club. And some of the webinars I'm going to do later on in the week will cover aspects of it as well. So I've got a little presentation. It's not death by PowerPoint. It'll probably last a couple of 5 minutes, if that. And then answer any questions. If anybody's got any questions, pop them up on in the comments, and I'll see them here, and I'll put them on the screen and answer them for you. But what can I tell you while everybody's sort of logging on? There's quite a few people here already, which is nice. In the Facebook group, you'll have seen today, you should have seen, certainly on the Carl Thomas Photography page, and also if you're one of our members already, we've got a trip in the New Forest coming up in about a month, end of September, for 3 days, where we'll spend a bit of time looking at landscape photography, wildlife photography, and stuff like that. A lot of people have asked me to do one of those more locally because they get quite jealous of the trips that we do to the Isle of Mull and all these wonderful places that we get to go. And they are wonderful, and they're normally a week long. This is a slightly different format. As you'll see from the post, it's 3 days. First day is we meet in the Carey's Manor Hotel, beautiful place in Brockenhurst. We'll have cup tea, croissants, and stuff like that, introductions, and then a little bit of PowerPoint, a discussion about settings, tips, techniques, stuff like that. Then we'll decamp into the restaurant, have a bit of lunch, and then we'll go out and about. So that's day one. And then day 2 and day 3 will be a slightly different format in that we're not going to be meeting in a hotel. We'll meet somewhere where we can have a nice coffee and a croissant somewhere, coffee shops or whatever, at different locations dotted around the New Forest, all fairly local, and then spend the day out. So that's what we're going to do in the next couple of days. So that's available. I've just put it on the open Facebook page. I need to check, actually. I'm just thinking. I'm not sure it's on the Beyond Lens Academy one. I know it's on the Carl Thomas Photography one. And if it's not, I'll make sure it's up there later. So we've got that coming up. All the other trips are pretty much full up. The only opportunity we've got is there's one space left on the trip to the Highlands in November because we can jig some of the rooms around and we can get another room in. Means I sleep in a slightly different room than I was planning to, but that's fine. But the Lewis one for next year, that's full. The winter one is full. We are considering getting another house for that. But anyway, I digress. You are here, I guess, to listen to me talk to you a little bit about starting your own business. So let me get this little slide deck up. Let's have a look. I think we probably want that one. Share. Make sure it's here. There it is. Dink. Okay. So, as I say, I think it's 7 slides. Not going to bore you to death with it, but I think, and I've done this on a number of times, but I just think, especially at the moment, the opportunity to earn some income for part-time, change a job or whatever, I think it's something a lot of people are considering. So hence the reason for me popping this up. So I've got a number of businesses, as you probably worked out. So I've got Carl Thomas Photography, little logo on the bottom left, which is a specialist dog photography business. And I've got Beyond the Lens Academy, which is an online training and support academy, and also a thing called the Full Frame Club now, which is a part of what this is going to be. So on Friday, we open the doors to that, which is what the registration is all about. So turning your passion for photography into a business, what's that all about? So a little bit about me, if you don't know me already. This is what I'm known for, mostly. So dog photography. There's a little badge up the top left there. That's an iPhone photo, by the way, in case you're wondering. And these are various different client photos, and bottom right is also a badge. We do have 4 dogs now, with the most recent addition, Maverick, a 17-week-old Cocker Spaniel, who's driving us nuts in a good way. So that's kind of my background. So 6 years ago now, I started up a photography business, and as they say, the rest is history. Because it's now a very thriving business, generates a healthy income for me, and I've got best part of 30,000 people following me on Facebook and social media and all those kind of things. So what are the challenges, though? Because how do I go from there to now? What do I have to deal with in the in-between, if you like? So these are some of them, and this is the picture I put up to sort of tempt you to come along and have a listen. So confidence, equipment, people will not pay for my work, cheap competition locally. Now, those 4 statements are true of any business at any time of the year, in any place. But none more so than when it comes to photography than the first one, which is confidence. So many people say to me that I've helped numerous people, as you'll see if you look at the reviews, go from the idea to thriving businesses, and confidence comes up all the time. And I think it's a bigger issue with photographers because it's actually a personal thing. You're doing work, you're doing your edits on it, and you're putting that forward, so it feels very personal. But confidence is also dealt with, also an issue, because most people who are photographers tend to do it on their own, particularly if you're part-time at the moment, or you're just an amateur and you're thinking about maybe earning some money from your wildlife shots or your landscapes or whatever you do. You haven't really got a feedback loop. And so you haven't got somebody saying to you, that's a really good photo because of X, Y, and Z. So that's not useful. It doesn't give you confidence without that. And even if somebody says to you, it's a great photo, and they don't tell you why, and they're not a professional photographer, then you don't know what to do more of. And if it's not very good, what to do less of. So confidence is something that we deal with. And it's not, you will not be on your own in relation to that. Equipment. Trust me, you do not need to spend a fortune. This top photo here, top left, Badger, with the background there, his little head, it's an iPhone photo. I can show you client photos. Let me see if I've got one here. I don't know if I have actually. Let me just see. Bear with me. Yeah, this shot here. There we go. I've got both. That shot there won me £100 on the Farlows in the Field photo competition in 2020 when I've got professional equipment. This shot here, just as good. Which one would you put in? You wouldn't be able to tell the difference, except that this one is a client on a workshop with us up in Scotland with a 70D, which is a fairly basic camera, £300 or £400 worth, and a fairly basic lens. So the point about equipment is it's more important to understand what to do with the equipment you've got than spend a fortune on very flash equipment. You do not need to do that. And, we cover that in a lot of detail. People will not pay for my work. This is a thing that photographers suffer from. It is not true. They will. Trust me. I'm living proof of it, as are many photographers in the UK. They will pay for your work, but it's all about structuring it properly so that they understand what you stand for, what your style is all about, what they get if they retain you to do the work, and what your products are. And they will pay for your work. There's always somebody who's going to do it cheaper in any business. This is not just photography. Any business, you're going to get that. But certainly with photography. And so the issue there, goes on to the next thing, cheap competition locally, is something you just need to ignore. You need to stick with what you're about, have a very defined business structure in terms of your offering. And that's all about, I think, called personal style. And we cover how we develop that. So people will want to book you for your work. The people who will not pay for my work thing often also comes from that point where you're maybe at the moment talking to friends about it and, I'm thinking about becoming a dog photographer or a wedding photographer or a equine photographer, whatever it might be, because that's, we've got people in our group that do all of these different things. And you talk to your friends and you'll say, oh yeah, I'm going to think about doing this. I'm going to charge X for doing Y. And they go, oh, I wouldn't pay for that. That's often because they're not necessarily your target customers. So don't worry about it. Anyway, that's those 4 points there. Now, this is the most important bit. And I told you it's not going to be a long presentation, this, because I'm not a believer in death by PowerPoint. The most important thing is to make a start. So the first one I would recommend you do is get yourself registered on that link I've put on, because that'll get you in the Facebook group, and there's lots of webinars and bits and bobs in there. And that goes to the next thing. Start networking, start understanding what's involved, find out if you are going to be, if you're interested in, say, equine photography or dog photography, whatever it might be, or weddings or whatever, start networking where the customers that you are looking to try and book, or you would hope to come and pay you to do some work for them, are going to be. So if you're equine, or the various pony clubs, or the riding schools, or the training schools, or the liveries that and shops and stuff that sell all the tack and all the equipment. Dogs, it's vets, pet shops, dog behaviorists, all the Facebook groups, people who've got dogs, friends who've got dogs, and so on. So networking is really important. Can't stress that enough. And mastering your craft sounds quite heavy, doesn't it? But actually, really, that's just about becoming good at a specific thing. So, and it often starts with understanding your subject. And usually, people who say to me, I like to be a dog photographer because I love dogs. I've got 18 dogs or 2 dogs or whatever. Or I want to become an equine photographer because I do a lot of riding and I've got my own horse, or a wedding photographer because, I've done a lot of that. I like people or whatever. There's usually an element of skill involved and an element of knowledge involved anyway, in terms of your subject. So mastering your craft, that's just time and practice. And obviously something like the Full Frame Club and what we offer to help you get better at what you do. Developing personal style, I touched on that a moment ago. It is really important, probably one of the most important things, especially at the moment, because yes, there are lots of people starting up photography business, but having your own personal style is so important, because that's what people are going to book you for. People book me for, this sort of stuff, dogs running around like lunatics. Where's all the rest of my photos? Have been moved around? Dogs in midair, dogs looking nice, dogs being dogs, all this kind of stuff. And that's because I've been started to become very consistent with what I do. It doesn't happen overnight. It took me about 8 months to a year. And so people know what they're about, what I'm about. So that's what they book me for. Right, next slide. And this is all continuing on getting started. So the things you need to think about: a portfolio, that is a body of work that shows what you're about. And that's chatting to mates and say, look, I'm getting myself going. I'd like to photograph your dog. I'll give you, a couple of images free, or something like that. Or you might be a horse, or whatever it might be. Being a second tutor at weddings, starting to get some work together to be able to show people what you can do and what you're capable of. Social media. So it's not just Facebook page these days, but there's quite a lot of it. So that's important. Very easy to do, very easy to get set up, takes moments. The key to it, and I've got a whole section on managing social media and being effective with it, but it's important to get yourself started. Website, again, I've got a webinar that I do, shows you how you can get that done in an hour. You don't need professional web designers these days. You can do it yourself. Start thinking about what your product offering is going to be. What am I going to do? What am I going to offer? How am I going to work? And that can be quite overwhelming. And that's a big part of what we do in the academy. We help people with that. And obviously the bottom one here, pricing. And what am I going to charge? What am I going to offer? How am I going to structure that? And how's that going to work? It's a big section of what we do. And it's probably one of the most commonly discussed things in terms of the aspects of the Full Frame Club, in terms of ongoing discussions. Now, getting organized is important, very important in any business. So have a process. Think about lead management and making sure you can invoice people. So having a process is, okay, what does that mean? So for me, what that means is, if somebody messages me, and I get lots of inquiries like this on social media, hi Carl, love your work, been following you for ages, I'd like to book a photo session, what's involved? Now, one thing you have to understand, if a lot of your work's going to come through social media, you're going to get emails at all times of day, or messages rather. So you need to be able to respond quickly. So I have on my photography website and on my Facebook page a pinned post that's got a long description about what's involved. So as far as the process is concerned, I can click back and say, thanks for your email, or thanks for your message. Here's a link to how everything works. Where are you based? What kind of dogs you got? I can respond in moments and look very professional. Having done that, then I've got a process of what I call lead management. So they get put into a little system. So I know when they're inquired, what they said, where they're based, and I've got a follow-up process. And it all depends on what stage they're at. So if they've come back and gone, yeah, great, book it, well, then they'll get a link, which is, I use a company called PayPal for that, which makes things very easy for people to just click on a link and pay their bill for booking. But if they haven't done that straight away, then it's follow up after 3 days, follow up after 6 days, and so on. So just having a process that doesn't need to be complicated, but just something that's simple, keeps the stress away, because it can be quite stressful. This is the last slide. Because we're going to be doing a lot more deeper dive during the rest of the week in terms of different aspects of it, some of the things I've talked about here. But important, this is, as Zig Ziglar once said, you don't have to be great to start, but you have to start to be great. Ta-da! So let me see if there's any comments, any questions. Doesn't look like there are. So let me just show you about some of the things that are in the Full Frame Club. So you can register at the moment. We're opening the doors on Friday. Well, it'll be Thursday midnight, and they're closing it on Sunday. Last time this year. Just to be clear, folks, we were going to do, this is actually the last time, we were going to do it a little while ago. Because once people join it, it tends to take 3-6 months to get them up and running. And, then we're into the winter time. So the next intake is going to be for next year. So if you're thinking about it, now's the time to make the decisions. So what's involved? This is the most important part of it. And I don't care where you go, but nobody else offers this. I know they don't because I've checked. There's lots of other companies that help and support, and there's videos you can watch, and there might be a group one-to-one once every now and again. But this is individual one-to-one support. So as a member of the Full Frame Club, with your idea about earning some income, full-time, part-time, whatever it might be, you can have as many one-to-ones with me, live like this, just you and me, having a conversation about getting your pricing sorted out, sorting your price list, sorting your social media out, whatever it might be, as you like. And the membership's an annual thing. And some people do that when they first get set up, or are getting set up, should I say. That can be every week. Once they get going, it's every couple of weeks. And once they really set up, it might be once a month, or when they need something, or they've got a problem or an issue, or they've got a customer inquiry they're not quite sure how to deal with. So that's a really important part. But I'll just flick through some of the other things that we cover. Business setup, limited company, private company, full or part-time. I've touched on pricing. In terms of, in addition to the one-to-one support, so a very one-to-one driven product is the Full Frame Club, because I think it works really well. But we do weekly live mastermind webinars where every week I'll be doing something about, so what did I do last week? Getting leads, process of getting leads. I think the week before we did managing social media or becoming effective when you're busy, holiday season. You want to go away and chill out for a couple of weeks. But you want everything to seem to be continuing whilst you're away, so we'll cover that. Very important, it's important to make a profit, so we cover that. Mentorship, this goes with the one-to-one support, really. What this is about is me saying to you, right, okay, that's great, good to catch up. So you're going to go away, get some shots done, and you're going to maybe get your social media set up. Brilliant. Next week I'll be like, tick, tick, tick. How's that going? Because some people, us photographers are well known to be good at it, are very good at planning. It's a crutch. It's like, oh yeah, I'm working on that. I'm getting my website name sorted out. I'm trying to come up with a logo, and yeah, I'll be doing that. And I spoke to friends in my local pub who have said those sort of things to me, and 6 months later, same conversation. So I'm going to mentor you as well as give you a kick to get things done. Personal style is a big part of what we do, help you get that developed, because that's really important. That's the thing that sets you apart from the competition. The strategy. Now, that will vary depending on where you want to be. Some people have got a very methodical approach to business or choose to take that approach, which is very step driven. It's like, I'm going to do this now, get the next bit done, with a planner going live in, I don't know, in the autumn, saying. Others like, right, let's just get it done. I want to get on with it. Some want to be limited companies, some want to be sole traders, some just want to start off as a part-time thing and see what happens. But we'll talk about that and develop a strategy for each one of you, depending on where you want to go. And then we talk about lead generation, all the strategies that I have in place to make that work, as in get customers. Because all this is great, got to have customers. Then you got to manage them. And, skills and equipment. We'll cover that in some detail. It's not a big part of it. It's not something that is onerous, but understanding how to use your equipment to get the best results based on your style and the kind of photography that you've elected to try and have a go at is important. I'm an Adobe accredited associate, which basically means I've spent a lot of time editing in my life. So we cover that. Most weeks we do something on Lightroom, which is good. I'll get you help with portfolio creation. That's important. And then last but not least, let's have a look. That you need to have a sort of a plan in relation to covering that kind of stuff. So how are we doing for comments? There's no questions. Oh, that's fine. It's not a problem. We don't always get loads. I can see there's lots of people here though, judging by the little tickers in the corner, because this has been streamed to 3 different destinations. So it's going to the YouTube channel, it's going to Beyond the Lens Academy Facebook page, as well as Carl Thomas Photography. So a lot of people get to see this, and obviously we'll watch the rewinds. So this is just an introduction, just a brief overview, just a reminder, a little tickle to say, look, it is not as hard as it seems. Trust me, it really isn't. I've helped an enormous amount of people at different levels of confidence and skill go from I'm not so sure to earning a living, doing really well, which is great, very satisfying. So what I would recommend you do is register. You'll answer, 8 questions about what you want to do, what kind of camera you got, what your thoughts are. That'll get you a link then automatically to join the Facebook group, and we post quite a lot of links in there to these webinars I'm going to be doing over the next sort of week or so. And we're going to be I can't remember, let me just have a little look on the other page to see it. because I put the post up and I can't remember what I put on it. There's Monday, can't you? Right, let's have a look. Oh, it's logging in. It's taking its time. I could just look on my phone in fairness, but all right, here we go. Carl Thomas Photography. So some of these webinars we'll have covered. Here we go. Here we go. There it is. There it is. Right. So the kind of things we're going to be looking at covering are, not exclusively, so getting started, I've touched on this a little bit at the moment, but some of those key points I've covered today. So getting started, equipment, competition, what do I charge, setting up a website, social media, all those kind of things I'm going to cover. I'm not, because obviously in the academy we spend, or in the Full Frame Club, we cover it in a lot more detail, but just some surface stuff for you to get your juices flowing, so to speak. Now, the other thing to bear in mind is that if you're thinking about joining the academy, it's up here, which is a separate thing again. That's also on the website. If you scroll right to the bottom of the website, in fact, I haven't put that on here, have I? The Full Frame Club includes the academy, so it makes it really good value for money. So let me just put in Beyond the Lens. I don't mind it. Academy.com. Beyond the Lens. Oh, I think I've got that right. Let me just double check something. I think it's right, but let me make sure we don't want the wrong link going up, do we? Just checking things here. Make sure it is. Yeah, that's correct. We changed something, I don't know why. So there's a link to the website. So if you just want to just join the academy and learn a bit more about photography, because that's a whole different thing. Again, we do webinars 2 or 3 times a week on that front, and there's lots of content. Like this week, for example, just to give you a flavour of what we're doing, whether you become a Full Frame Club member or not. This is the stuff that's going on this week. So we've got an image critique review, which is a theme that we set every month, and I critique the images and pick the best, and that goes up in the Facebook group. Clients love that, or members love that. We'll be having probably 3 webinars this week. So there'll be a business one, there'll be two about skills and settings and stuff. And we're also, one of our members this week is, I'm hoping to be this week anyway, has got an interesting style in terms of the way he edits his photos. So they are all very colourful and stuff. And a lot of the people in the group, members group, have been asking about it. So we're going to be doing a sort of a webinar like this, but he's going to be coming on live, and we're going to go through a presentation jointly, asking him about how he does what he does and why he does what he does and stuff. So we're going to start doing a bit more of those. So lots going on. So unless there's any questions, I know it's Monday, so I'm going to leave you in peace, play my little outro video, and hopefully see you inside the Facebook group. So get yourself registered and get ready for Friday opening, because it's 3 days. There's going to be a ridiculous offer, especially given the current climate and everything else. So we're working on a bit of a mad offer for everybody to help things, and then take it from there. So thanks for watching. I hope that's been useful, and see you soon. See you later. Bye.